Hi there, this is Emily Juries, licensed clinical mental health counselor. Today's episode is going to be talking about dealing with feeling low on energy. Definitely something that we all experience at some point. Usually can happen every day, or it can happen a lot throughout our weeks. So, I'm going to talk about some steps that might help you get closer to having the energy that you want to have. If low energy is a consistent problem that you've been dealing with for weeks or months at a time, I do recommend informing a primary care provider in case there's any sort of medical conditions that could be contributing to it. And then also, they could refer you to someone else that might be able to help. But the first thing, the first step that I'll spend the most time on is knowing your context.
It's referring to having the awareness of different things that could be impacting your energy so that you can best help yourself. In Lisa Feldman Barrett's book, How Emotions Are Made, she talks about your body budget. And this body budget is a useful analogy to consider what might be impacting the current state of your body. So, withdrawals are things that would take away from your body's resources and energy, while deposits are things that help replenishing resources and energy. So, you might consider deposits as sleep, food and nutrients, water, and withdrawals are a whole host of things that take up your energy and resources, like working, cleaning, taking care of others, just feeling certain really strong emotions like stress or sadness or anger. So when you're feeling low on energy, you could consider the context of your day and what kind of deposits and what kind of withdrawals may be contributing to your current state. Also, side note, I'm kind of just using a couple of the terms and concepts from Barrett's book, How Emotions Are Made, but that just doesn't even scratch the surface of what her book is and has to offer. She talks all about like how emotions are constructed from a neuroscience angle, from the research angle, and then she also talks about how you can apply this and use this to your advantage. Um, I kind of been just using a couple of her concepts and language here, but I highly encourage digging deeper into all the things that she talks about in her book as well. All right, so back to what we're talking about today, which is just being low on energy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you just like a list of questions that you might ask yourself to just kind of consider, like, what is my context? What is going on for me today that could be contributing to my energy levels? First one is, what time of day is it currently? If you're a morning person and it's the evening, you might have less energy because of the time of day and natural circadian rhythms going on in your body. What have I eaten and when did I last eat? If you just ate a big meal, you might be tired from that as your body works to digest the meal and or possibly kind of recovering from a sugar rush. Conversely, if you had very little to eat today, you might be low on energy because you don't have enough fuel. How much water have I had today? Hydrating is an important deposit for our body budgets. Less hydration can mean less energy. How did I sleep last night? One of the more obvious factors to consider. If you didn't sleep well, you might be more fatigued and not have as much energy. How has my physical health been? When you're sick with some sort of virus or bacterial infection, your body will want to focus its resources there, and you might feel low energy elsewhere. Resting is probably most useful in these instances. And then, what activities have I been engaged in? If you've been on your feet a lot, you might be low on energy because of how much energy you already used up. Or if your activities had you seated and sedentary most of the day, your body might be falsely predicting that you don't have energy, hence the feeling of low energy. And I'll talk more about that sort of false prediction in a moment. How has my mental health been? Anxiety and depression are two umbrellas of mental health that are extremely common occurrences, and both can create a feeling of fatigue and low energy. Typically, people with significant anxiety are fatigued due to their body being in a state of high stress and tension. So, this level of low energy might deserve some attempts at relaxing the body, like deep breathing skills or progressive muscle relaxation skills. But for people dealing with significant depression, the low energy is more likely due to the fact that there's been less interest and motivation, thus less activity overall, and maybe some more staying in bed or being more sedentary, which means that their bodies might likely have more resources available to expend energy, and their bodies are making that sort of false prediction again. In those cases, it can be very impactful to use the steps below and find ways to move and build upon small increments of energy, almost like proving to your body that you do have energy by getting up and doing things despite how you feel initially. Additionally, life is filled with possible stressors that might be more acute and definitely energy sucking. So take time to consider what stressors you've been facing or have had in the back of your mind. How have you been coping with these stressors? You can kind of think about what kind of weight and impact the stressors might have been having on you and your energy recently. And last question on my list here is, have I utilized any medications or substances today? Some medicines and substances might lower our energy, so just be mindful of that being another piece of the puzzle and something else to consider. Okay, so let me go back to my brief mentions about these false predictions. This is another part of Barrett's book, and she talks about how our brain makes predictions based off of our body budget and lots of other things like our past experiences, our learned concepts, and current sensory information coming in. So, to be efficient, your mind uses these different pieces of information and quickly makes a prediction that it believes will best help achieve homeostasis or balance within the body. Sometimes these predictions are pretty accurate and thus helpful. Other times, these predictions are not super helpful with the current moment and might not be as fitting for what you have going on in that moment. So, as I started to allude to above, when we've been sitting all day, our mind might be making the prediction that we need to conserve energy. And that is why we've been sitting all day, maybe, because we need to conserve energy. And if it makes a prediction that we need to conserve energy, then it's going to send signals of saying, hey, your body's low on energy. And hence, that's why we might feel low on energy, when in reality, your body might have plenty of resources to be up and moving. That's why knowing your context is so important, because you want to be able to understand where that low energy feeling could be coming from prior to taking action. If, after you reflect, you think that you might have enough resources to build your energy back up, then try out one or all of the recommended steps below to slowly make your way there. All right. And I know this is something that I do personally a lot, is go through these steps and assess my energy, because my work is very sedentary. So I do frequently get the signal that I'm low on energy, when I think in reality, I actually have much more energy than how I feel. So the next step is to take deep belly breaths. This one is great because you don't have to move or go anywhere or get up. You can just start taking slow inhales in your nose if possible, or controlled breathing in your mouth if you can't breathe into your nose, and then slow exhales. The idea is to breathe into your stomach and use all of your lungs to the point where you can feel your stomach expand on the inhale and then deflate slowly on the exhale. A lot of times, just doing about 5 belly breaths can help improve our energy by increasing oxygen in the body. And some people enjoy belly breathing to specific counts. So if that's your preference, you might try 5-7-8 breathing, which is where you inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds. Or you might try box breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds. Some people will also kind of visually trace around a square or rectangle as they do the box breathing. And then there's also what I'll call sequential breathing, where you like inhale for 4 and exhale for 4, maybe do that once or twice, and then you kind of go up. So then you'll inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, maybe do that once or twice, and then you go up again, inhale for 6 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds, etc. The next step that I would recommend would be to take a drink of water. Humans are anywhere from 55 to 65% water, and a lot of us can fall into not hydrating very well. So taking a nice long drink of water might give your body an immediate and quick boost of energy and help you recognize how much energy your body may actually have in this moment when properly hydrated. And then after getting a drink of water, you might consider a snack. A lot of times when we're low on energy, it could be just being kind of low blood sugar or not having all the nutrients that we need. So grabbing a snack can really help with this. I'm not a nutritionist or dietitian, so take this with a grain of salt, but I think some good midday snacks might be like nuts or yogurt. And the final step that I'd recommend is movement, which is usually kind of where we're trying to head towards, right? This can certainly be the hardest step because when we're low on energy, we don't want to move, and it might feel like we can't move or it's not possible. We definitely don't have the energy for it. But as mentioned earlier, this idea that we might not have the energy to move might not be true and only a prediction that our mind is making. But some ways to make this movement more tolerable might be to start with small movements where you are, whether that's seated or lying down, and then working your way up to standing and walking around. So some easy movements might be like shrugging your shoulders up to your ears and dropping them down, or gentle twists of your back, kind of looking over each shoulder. Or you might raise your arms up to the sky and do a full body stretch. And with laying down, you might hug one knee into your chest and cross it over your body for a lying down twist on each side, or you might hug your knees into your chest and roll a little bit on your lower back for a lower back massage. And then once you're standing, if it's safe for you to do a forward fold in yoga, or if you're not familiar, it's like the stretch of just reaching towards your toes, but while standing. This can be a really great way to get some blood flowing to your brain. I recommend taking deep breaths while in a forward fold. And again, make sure this is safe for you. It's not always safe for people like with vertigo or brain aneurysms or other conditions. And then you might consider walking or pacing around the room or your living space. You might even go outside for a short walk. A lot of times, even just like a 5-minute walk might shift your body's predictions on how much energy you have. Along with walking, you might consider taking your movement further, like going for a run or doing some yoga or doing a strength workout and lifting weights. Exercise can be a really great energy boost. By the end of these steps, you might have a better sense of what true energy and resources your body has, and hopefully there's enough energy to do whatever else you would like to try to do with your day. I hope this was useful, and I hope you experiment with some of these steps so that you can have the energy you want to have. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.